Welcome back, guys. So this video is mainly going to be about my house. Um, so whatever to talk about a haunted story is to start from the beginning. So my house has always kind of had an experience, had a feeling to it in a way, to the point where you felt like you're being watched. I've been having experiences since I was a little kid, and apparently my parents had experienced things when they moved in. The very first experience my parents ever had in this house that was kind of paranormal was when one of my oldest brothers was a little kid. He was in our hallway and he kept on pointing at a picture of my grandparents who recently passed away. He was pointing at the ceiling where our attic is at. And he was pointing there. He wasn't pointing at the picture. He was pointing at our attic, and he kept on saying, "Grandpa and Grandma," and he kept on saying that. But they haven't officially told them that they passed away. That my grandparents has passed away. So they got a little eerie. Whatever. Fast forward to when I was a kid, because I wasn't born yet at that time. When I was a kid, I had experiences in the room I'm actually filming in right now. When I was a little kid, I would be playing with toys, as a usual little kid would be doing. And one of my toys was on our counter, and it flew off the counter. I was not near it. There was nothing around it, and it just flew. I was the only person in the room, and it flew off the counter and fell to the ground. I was freaked out, but I was a little kid. I was just like, okay. I don't really know much about ghosts and the paranormal, so I just blew it away. It was whatever. But as I started to grow older, when I became around 10 to 12 years old, I started knowing what paranormal activity was, And me and my brothers will always hear our footsteps in our living room, in the kitchen, stuff's walking around. We'll hear our chairs being pulled out and pushed back into our tables. And this is in the middle of the night. This was midnight. Nobody will be in our living room, not even my parents, not even my mom. I know she's my mom's Mexican and everything. She's really into cleaning, but she's not going to be cleaning at midnight. That's how it was. Kind of constantly. Nothing too aggressive, nothing too scary to the point where we're going to shit ourselves. But, as kids, you try to tell your parents, oh, we heard stuff moving around at night. And, parents will, especially, Hispanic parents, will be, oh, it's nothing. It's nothing. It's your brain. It's your brain telling you things. When I was in high school, we always had experiences. We always seen a girl in our backyard. And we always had problems in our hallway, especially, where I previously said that my brother was standing in when he was pointing up at the attic. In the hallway, we always had experiences where somebody or something would be grabbing on our doorknobs trying to open it. Or even then, I'm getting goosebumps even talking about it. I'm getting a little nervous. I'm looking at my door right now. I'm hoping nothing happens. But we'll have things grab our doorknobs and try to shake it and open it. Or even then, we'll have I don't want to talk about this. I feel so uncomfortable even speaking about it. I don't know. Something just feels weird. I'm going to take a break. And I'll come back in a bit. I'm back. I had to collect myself a little bit. I feel normal again. So we had experiences, back where I was talking about. We had experiences where something would be grabbing on the doorknobs. We'll shake it. And a lot of heavy footsteps. You know how you can tell when somebody's a specific family member is walking in a hallway or walking near to your room or something, and you can kind of tell who it is by the footsteps. There's 5 of us in our house at this time. There's always one pair of footsteps that doesn't sound like anyone. I know the difference because, not to be mean, my family are very close to the fluffy side, and it's very heavy footsteps, heavy, like a big person walking down the hallway. And our floors are very creaky, especially in our hallway. There's always a slight footsteps, not too heavy. Like, it's hard to explain. And if you sleep with the door locked, you can have it locked and everything. And the next morning, it'll be slightly cracked open. And we always gave the person in our hallway, whatever it is, we always gave it the nickname as the creeper. Or the snooper, you know? Just like kind of creep in, look at the door, look inside the room, and that's it. That's the most that's ever happened. Well, we had a friend, which I'm not going to name because I don't know if I should be doing that. But his family is very spiritual. He is considered I think he said he was like a white warlock, something like that, and that's some spiritual type stuff. Well, he is also like a human Ouija board, and it's scary because if he's sleeping and you speak to him about the surrounding in the rooms, he will answer, be talking to people in the room that are not there, which is even scarier. So it's like, I don't want to fuck with Ouija boards, and I got this person who is a human Ouija board in my house. It's like, fuck that. Or one night, he's spending over our house. Well, he is sleeping in our room. Not this room I am right now, but another room. He's sleeping in there, and he is talking in his sleep. My brother thinks he's still awake, but he's sleeping at the time, and he's talking. And my brother's just like, who are you talking to? What are you saying? He's just like, I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to the girl at the edge of the bed. Mind you, I wasn't home in this night, but he was in my bed. And some girl was at the edge of my bed, and he was talking to her. And he was just like, what the hell are you talking about? He's just like, I'm talking to the girl at the edge of the bed, and she said she's afraid of the man in the hallway. The black figure in the hallway. It was the scariest shit. It's the scariest shit. The thing that made me scared is because we acknowledged that there was things here, but we always thought it was in our head. You know, kind of that type of shit where we can try to explain it, you know, but we can't explain it, but we try to. The thing that makes it scarier is that we have a third party coming into our house telling us, oh, there's something here. But we never told them the experiences in our house before. He had no idea. He came to our house not knowing anything. And he made the two things we would already assumed. That flipped me the fuck out. But besides that, that's all it was. It was just seeing apparitions, kind of like shadows, and the footsteps and stuff like that. And what I mean by apparitions is this one time I came with a friend of mine. She came to our house, and I was introducing her to my house. It was the first time she came to my house. I'm like, oh, here's my house. And I look in my hallway, and I see somebody, half of an apparition, walk out of my brother's room into my parents' room. How do you explain that, you know? And I looked at my friend, and I'm like, I forgot to mention. You know, it's that dumb cliche. I'm like, I forgot to mention my house is haunted. And I just saw somebody walk out of my brother's room. She didn't believe me, but she was afraid to come in my house. And my brother, apparently, he was home alone. And before I came home, he apparently said that he heard footsteps outside of his door. And when I saw the apparition walk out of his room, his door was locked. So it couldn't be him. Obviously, it couldn't be him because how is a half a body going to walk out of his room? But it was a weird experience. Time flies by, you know, things here and there. Then we come to a point where it happened about 3 years ago. I was getting ready for work. My parents weren't home. They were off, I believe, in Mexico. And little side note, usually all these things happen when my parents are not home, which I feel like is weird because I don't know why it doesn't happen when they are home. I'm home, and my brother, he is a night owl. It's the worst thing ever because he plays until 3, 4 in the morning. His video games nonstop. He's laughing, he's screaming, he's cussing, you know, he's playing his League of Legends, whatever it's called. And, you know, we hardly get sleep at night because, you know, we have this guy screaming and shit. So, I wake up to get ready for work. I'm like, you know what? My parents are not here. My brother is sleeping. I'm gonna listen to some music. So I grab my speaker, and I had a really nice speaker back at the time, JPL, I think what it was, something like that. And I grab it, and I'm playing my music, and I'm playing loud as hell, you know? I'm going to town at this. It's just like, I can't get sleep in the night, you're not getting sleep in the morning. So whatever, I do my stuff, I get to my room, and then I hear my brother yell in his room. Okay. He's mad, whatever. I'm not trying to be petty, I'm not trying to get any arguments. I'll turn it off, whatever. I get in my car, I turn around my streets, I get out, I get into the main street, and I live right next to an orange light. And as I'm getting to the light, I see my brother coming from the bus stop. I roll down my window, I'm like, hey, Humberto, where were you? He's just like, oh, I was at work. I was just like, so you went home? When did you go to work? He's like, oh, in the morning. I'm like, I literally just heard somebody yell in your room. How are you out? So you're telling me I'm home alone and I heard somebody yell in your room? He's just like, oh, why do you gotta tell me that? Now I gotta go home alone to be in that room where you heard somebody yell at. I'm like, dude. The light turned green. I'm like, dude, what the fuck? I drive to work and I'm like really like kind of like brain fucked at this moment because I don't know what the fuck is happening. You literally hear somebody yell in your brother's room, literally right next to you, and there's no explanation for it. That's the first time I've ever heard a voice that's not anyone else's. And it was just the weirdest shit ever. The scariest shit ever. The thought of it is just so like, it's weird. So, we're gonna fast forward a little bit. And probably, I want to say like a couple months of fast forward. And I went to Gravity Hills. Gravity Hills in the Valley is basically just some place up in like Burbank, I want to say. Further up Burbank, and it's not really the Gravity Hills where like somebody's the ghosts are pushing your cars, but it's more of how would you say it? It's a cemetery, you know, and people go there just to get spooked out. They don't go there for the actual shit, you know. They just drive around, get spooked out, and then they get drunk. Well, I go with a bunch of coworkers of mine, and we're driving around, you know, we're all having fun, being dumb and shit. And then that's when they start freaking out. They're like, oh my god, I saw something. Oh my god, there's something there. I saw a person, and now I see a deer. And they're trying to see all that, you know, weird shit where like the devil or like demons can like transform into animals or something like that. Some weird stuff. You know, I believe in the supernatural, but at this point, when you're saying that you see a person transform into an animal, that's when I draw the line. I'm like, okay, chillax, son. I'm fucking around. I'm having a dumb fun time. We go home, call it a day. Didn't even think twice about it. Well, after that night, things in my house have gotten kind of more serious, more constant. Before it will be like happen this month, kind of this week, and then it go by silence, and then again it happens again. Well, it's starting getting more crazy, as in we starting seeing stuff more. I would tell my parents, and backtracking when I said that usually things didn't happen when my parents were home, and then usually when they're gone, that's when things happen. Well, after that night, things started happening when they were here now. For example, my mom, she would see shadows in our hallway. That's the hot spot of our house, is our hallway. And she would see shadows, and my dad will put things in one place and they'll always end up in another place. My dad is a non-believer. He doesn't believe in that stuff, so he always tries to make an explanation. He's just like, oh, I'm getting old, I'm just forgetting. Stuff like that. My mom's like, no, bullshit, there's some shit going on. Like, she's just like, okay, our kids are telling the truth, there's actually some shit going on. My mom is seeing shadows now, and she always stays home because she's a stay-at-home mom, and the whole family works, so she's usually home most of the time by herself. Before, she had no problem, but when she started experiencing things, that's when she started getting scared and nervous to be home alone. We had security cameras installed in our neighborhood, well, in our house, primarily because our neighbors will have their cars broken into, all this stuff. It was weird shit. They stole a fucking palm tree. I don't know how the fuck you do that or why the fuck you steal a palm tree. I don't know. And my mom's car was broken into. Well, we installed security cameras. We got those like, you know, little ring cameras where like you can talk through your phone through the little the security camera, the doorbell security camera, and we had other ones put around our house. We caught something on our Ring camera. I'm gonna plug it in a bit. It happened around like 2:30 in the morning, and my mom was kind of awake at this time, and she heard we had this cabinet where our computer's at, and she heard it open, and that thing is not quiet at all, and we have all these things hanging on it, so when you open it, it's wood like banging on each other. It's not quiet, literally not quiet. It's the most annoying thing. So she heard that open, and then she heard the ring go off. She didn't think any of it. She just like, whatever. Well, next morning, she looks at it and she looks at the camera, and there's something covering the frame. It's nothing paranormal. It's just like something's covering the camera. And people are gonna be like skeptical about it, but I honestly, this is all truth. This is not me making bullshit up. Like, if you ask coworkers of mine, if you manage to get contact with them, they experience stuff in my house. This is not bullshit. This is not lies. This is real life. This is my life. Well, if you watch the security camera, the Ring camera, if you look in the center, you can just see an outline of somebody just standing there, not moving for 30 seconds straight. It probably doesn't. They probably been going on longer afterwards. We could have thought it could be somebody broken into our house, but we have other cameras around our house, and they caught nothing. Nobody come in our house, nothing. The doors were locked, everything was locked. And we had no explanation for it. My mom was nervous. She was just like, I don't know what the hell this is. She was confused about it. And that's not the first time my mom sees something on the security camera. She saw a woman in our backyard walking, because we have a monitor, and she saw a woman in our backyard walking. Because she always looks at the security cameras at nighttime, because she's always nervous. So when she saw when she saw the woman in the camera, she went to the front yard and looked around, saw nobody. When she went back, she realized that camera was in our backyard. The next morning, she told my dad, it was just like, hey, you need to fix the camera because I saw somebody in the backyard from the alley in the camera. My dad was just like, if you see somebody in the camera, that's not the alley, that's in our backyard. You can't see anything over our fence. Anything you see is in our backyard. And it's the freaky shit ever, you know? You see somebody in our backyard and there's no explanation, nothing to just disappear, you know? We don't know what to explain of it. And that's it for this video. I'll add more stories to this as I go on. I'm gonna make this constant. I'll probably be posting stories about once a week. I'm pretty sure it's gonna get dead. It's probably gonna go dead silent. I'm probably gonna make either a 2 or 3-parter. Because this, where I'm ending off, is fairly recent. It's probably, I want to say, several months ago. So we're getting close to an end of my story, or to the present of my story. So I'll keep you guys updated on more stories about my house. But until then, thank you for joining my channel. Please subscribe if you haven't. Please like or share the video if you find it creepy, or just find me just talking ridiculous, where you're like, oh, I don't believe homie's dumb. Whatever you feel like you can believe in. If you believe in me, thank you. If you don't believe in me, well, if I do the stupid and have a ghost investigation of my house, I hope that changes your mind. But until then, thank you, and see you till next time.